Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestle Life Radio. My name is Matt Sin, and this is Indie Focus. This is the show where we sit down with someone who is working or has worked in independent wrestling, and we learn more about them. Hashtag support indie wrestling. And today, we're here with Canada's own Nova. How you doing?
Hi there. How's it going?
You know what? I'm doing really, really good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I just finished a workout, so
Oh, really?
I'm done for the night, and just interviewing with you now.
Oh, cool. Like a wrestling workout, or just like a regular workout?
Like a regular workout, like a CrossFit workout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's cool. Well, we got a lot of wrestling stuff to talk about, but before we do that, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm 32 years old. I commenced pro wrestling in 2018, where I was training for most of the year. I had my debut in April 2019, and so I do feel like I've started a little bit later in life.
Yeah.
But it's something that I've always wanted to do. It's always been on my bucket list, and I knew that I wasn't getting any younger, so here I am. I've made it happen.
That's really cool. That's really awesome. And you were an athlete in high school and college too, right?
Yes, so my gimmick, which is the elite athlete, plays off a lot of reality, and which is in high school, I was team captain on every team I was on. I won, athlete of the game, player of the game, athlete of the week, athlete of the year. In college, led my team for that as well. So, for today, for pro wrestling, I play off a lot on that. It's just, I am the best. I am the elite athlete.
That's awesome. That's really cool. That makes sense because I saw it almost looks like football shoulder pads type stuff that you use in your entrance.
Yes, that's right.
That's
cool. I just, when I had to think about what I wanted to present myself in, what I wanted to wear in the ring, I just kept it natural. And you know what? Workout clothes, something stretchy, just sporty, jersey-like. That's who I am. So I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. So It just flows more naturally that way.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Now, I watched a couple of your matches, and you tell me if I'm crazy. I saw the number 25 on your tights.
Yes.
Do you have that number? Did you pick that number for a specific reason? Is that what you wore in college?
I did. Yes. No, not in college. So my actual full-time job, I'm in emergency services, and for 11 years, my radio ID call sign is Kilo 25.
Okay.
So instead of somebody, for the past 11 years of my career, my professional career, instead of somebody calling me by my name, which I haven't actually heard my name in years at work, it's Kilo 25. That's my identity.
Wow.
And that's who I am. And it's very, very close to my heart. So I just, I needed a number for my jerseys, right? Yeah. And it was a no-brainer. It really was a no-brainer.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Huh.
Thank you.
Well, let's move on into some wrestling stuff. Did you watch a lot of wrestling growing up?
I did. I grew up watching, WWE, NWO, WCW.
Yeah.
And I grew up playing WCW on my N64 as well.
Revenge. It's the best game.
Yes. Yeah, it was the best. I was addicted to it, and I've always been a fan.
Is it safe to assume, because I saw on your Instagram you dress as him for Halloween, and I'm pretty sure I saw you do a splash in one of your matches, at least one of your matches. Are you a big Ultimate Warrior fan?
I am, and I actually dressed as the Ultimate Warrior for Halloween, and it was for a costume contest. Because at the bars, they always have costume contests for money.
Yeah.
So I decided to go as that because I thought, it's so unique. Who else is going to be that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to stand out like a sore thumb.
Uh-huh.
And, so I was in the city of Ottawa, Ontario.
Yeah.
And I went out that night, and I dressed up as the Ultimate Warrior, and I was just in, his energetic self. I was just in full Ultimate Warrior mode, and I just had such a good time that night. I came second place in Ottawa at that bar, but all in all, it was awesome. The crowd went crazy because I had to go up on stage. So it was good. It was so much fun.
Oh man, please tell me that they had the theme music played for you.
No, they didn't.
Oh no.
I know. But it's really cool because, a lot of people recognized who I was.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
That is really cool, especially in this day and age. I mean, Ultimate Warrior hasn't really been a thing since the 80s or even 90s, but
That's right.
He transcended. I mean, he was one of the few that really transcended wrestling, and everyone knows who the Ultimate Warrior is. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm in my 30s, so it was mostly people in their 30s or older who did recognize who the Ultimate Warrior was.
Right.
The 20-something-year-olds obviously didn't.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's okay.
It's like, oh, look at the pretty face paint and tassels.
Yeah, it's just so funny because, for Halloween, girls usually dress up, quite revealing,
yes.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, sexy police officer,
right.
Sexy this, sexy that. And I'm just like, no, I'm the Ultimate Warrior. I'm going all out.
That's amazing. It looked great.
Yeah.
It looked really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty dead on, I think.
Yeah, it was great. Well, let's tell me about some of your other favorites from maybe when you were a kid and even right now.
Growing up, I was a big, big fan of the Hardy Boys and Lita.
Okay.
And, they were the top of my list. I remember going on my Microsoft computer desktop growing up on dial-up and literally using all of the printer ink from my mom's printer, printing out, images of the Hardy Boys and Lita.
That's
just
amazing.
To post all over my wall, just totally draining the printer, and my mom always having to refill it. And she never, it's funny because I was always secretly doing it.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm draining all of her ink. And,
yeah, especially if it's color pictures, man.
And she never understood why we kept running low. Until one day, because, you're a teenager, mom's not supposed to go in your room.
Right.
But mom went in my room and she found my collection. Oh my God, I got so upset over it. I don't know why, but it just, I don't know. I looked up to the Hardy Boys so much, and Lita and their athleticism, and I feel like they're a big part of why I am the wrestler who I am today. You know what I mean? I obviously can't do half the things that Jeff Hardy can do off the top, but I mean, I truly look up to them as athletes. I really do. It was
I want to say about 3 months ago. I can't remember when, but Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy separately main evented Dynamite and SmackDown in the same week. And I'm like, my gosh, that's really cool in 2020 that they can still say they're doing that.
I know. Oh my God. I have never seen them live. I've never met them, and I don't even know how I would react if I did. Because, like I said, they when I think back to my childhood and being a fan of wrestling, it's all of them. It's really all of them. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I was a big fan too, and I always preferred Matt, and my cousin preferred Jeff. And so we would always argue over who was better because I prefer the mat wrestling type, and he likes the high flyer, jump off the cage, that kind of stuff. So it was always a fun debate, but they're both incredibly talented.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you said you started your journey to become a professional wrestler a little later in life than a lot of people do. What sparked that fire and made you really want to do it?
I was it's funny. I was just working out in the gym one day. Raw was on, and it was just, it was a women's match happening. And I thought to myself, my college volleyball career's over.
Yeah.
I'm literally beating myself up in the gym and working as hard as I can, but for what? Why? Why am I training so hard and I have nothing to show for it?
Right.
I'm in the best shape of my life. I've always been a fan of pro wrestling. There's no pro wrestling in my area. So, you know what? Screw it. I'm not getting any younger. So let's just give it a try.
Okay.
All I want to do, I may not even be a wrestler at the end of it, but if I can find myself a ring and just bounce around the ropes and just fulfill that part of me that I always wanted to try,
Right.
I would be so happy. So literally right then in that moment, I'm watching Raw, stretching on the ground of the gym, and I said, like, screw it. I sent a Facebook message to Rock Solid Wrestling, which was the only indie wrestling company I knew that was even remotely close to my area.
Right.
And just hoped for a reply. And
wow.
Yeah, they got back to me, and I actually had a meeting / interview with Tornado,
Yeah.
Mark Bartolucci. And yeah, the rest is history, I guess. I mean, I started training with him in his basement of his home, just learning chain wrestling because, like, again, there's no ring in the area that I grew up in. So I started training in a basement and doing suplexes on the floor, like on a bedroom mattress beside a television, hoping not to hit it.
Right.
So that's how I started.
Wow, that's crazy.
And this was literally in winter of 2018.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you've really only been wrestling for about a year because the pandemic happened. You haven't been able to wrestle, I assume, the last few months.
That's right. My debut was April 2019. So, and the pandemic happened what, March?
March, yeah, end of March. So less than a year.
So technically I was only wrestling for like 11 months.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, 11 months and then nothing, and then last weekend.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And last weekend was against Alexi Nicole, right?
With Destiny Wrestling. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool.
Yes.
So my next question is, where did you train? But you talked a little bit about that, but let's expand upon that a little bit and tell me
Sure.
about, how it went.
So after training in Tornado's basement for maybe a couple months, not many months, there's only so much you can learn in a basement, right? You eventually
you got to
need
get in a ring.
transition into a ring. So he hooked me up with Ben Ortmans at Crossbody Pro Wrestling Academy in Kitchener, Ontario.
Okay.
So then I had to travel about 5 hours to get to a ring.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's where I learned, how to take a bump, and I learned universal and just the the basic fundamental things that a new wrestler would learn.
Yeah.
So I got trained by Ben Ortmans, thankfully, in that. And then I eventually moved on to Tyson Duke's Wrestling Factory in London, Ontario.
Yeah.
Where just because the 5 hours of training, the 5 hour drive one way, and then training, and then going home, and not being able to regularly train until I get, a day off work, whenever that's going to be again.
Yeah.
I wasn't it's muscle memory, right? And
Right.
I wasn't retaining it. So every time I found myself making that drive again, I was relearning a lot of the same things because I had to correct my form again because I was losing it, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that I needed to get regular, like Monday to Friday class training in. I needed that because I'm a hands-on learner.
Right.
And I need those reps. I need that muscle memory. So the only opportunity I had to do this was when 2019 hit, with my career, you're allowed to have holidays, right?
Yeah.
And usually people take holidays 1 week here during the year, 1 week there during the year, just kind of break it up during the year.
Right.
I said, no. I said to my employer, give me all of my holidays in January. I want the entire month off. And what I did is I packed my bags and I moved to London, Ontario, which is about 6.5, 7 hour drive away.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I rented myself a room and I lived in London, Ontario, and I went to regular class training with Tyson Dukes and his classes.
That is crazy.
So that's like how I finally got to somewhat retain on a regular basis and get the training on a regular basis. And from there, I was able to eventually transition into matches.
Yeah.
And actually perform, which was what I wanted.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of time, a lot of driving, so expensive, you know what I mean?
That's dedication, though.
Yeah, because I really wanted it. I really
Yeah.
did. I just wanted to make this dream come true.
If you basically grew up as an athlete, right?
Yes.
So often athletes have that drive and that determination in them. So you can tell that definitely bled over into wrestling for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about what you do before a match. Do you have like any rituals that you do before a match starts?
Yes, because the saying mind over matter, right?
I
and
firmly believe in
I truly
that.
believe, yes. So I'm a very punctual person.
Okay.
And preparing for a match and preparing for the show starts with me arriving as early as I can.
Okay.
I like to have, the calm before the storm. So if I can arrive there and be one of the first wrestlers to arrive over top of everybody else and just be in the auditorium or, the gymnasium or wherever, and just be there and get comfortable with the area before everybody starts spilling in.
Yeah.
To me, mentally, I feel more prepared that way.
Right.
So then I have time to, walk around the ring, bounce around, lay out my merch, go to the change room. It's quiet. I'm by myself. I can go through my belongings. And the second I walk into the venue and I'm early, I already start feeling like I'm more prepared that way, you know. And then from there, obviously, I'm meeting my opponent, and we're obviously going over the material. So yeah.
That's another sports thing. First one in, last one out.
It's not a chore for me. It's just I feel more confident that way, and I feel more prepared because I don't like to be rushed.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I absolutely understand.
Yeah.
So let's you said you debuted in April of 2019. Who was that first match against, and tell me how it went?
Sure. In April 2019, I debuted at Fanshawe College with Smash Wrestling, and it was against Violet Lee.
Okay.
And Violet Lee was somebody that I was able to train with at Tyson Duke's Wrestling Factory during that month in January 2019 that I was there. So we really, really got to know each other during that time and get comfortable with our practices.
That's great. That's really cool. How nervous were you?
I was very nervous.
Yeah.
Because, it's one thing watching it your whole life, but then, this is you. This is you now. This is happening.
Right.
And it's very, very surreal.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain how surreal it is when it's it's just something you've watched on TV growing up, and now you've somehow turned into that. With hard work and dedication.
Right.
It was totally earned, totally deserved, but it doesn't feel like it's real.
How did the crowd react in your very first match?
It was fantastic.
Yeah?
The crowd was very, very supportive. There were people there who had no idea who I was, and they had, the signs out with my name on it and everything. And I'm just over the moon thankful for all of the support that people, the chance people gave me when they didn't even know who I was.
That's really cool. That's really awesome. So you've only been wrestling a year. I want you to tell me, and I don't know how difficult this will be for you, tell me about your favorite match you've ever had.
My favorite match I ever had, it was in summer 2019.
Okay. With
PWA in Varney, Ontario against CC Moss.
Okay.
And the reason why that's one of my favorite, most memorable matches is because it's a point in time where I feel like I was starting to really evolve.
Yeah.
Even though I was still brand new, there was a point in my career on that day where she allowed me to take control of the match.
Yeah. And
she allowed me to call the match out during the match when we were in the moment. Usually I'm new, so I'm just following the lead. Someone else is taking control of everything. They're calling things out in the ring. Nope, it was my turn.
Okay.
And my memory served me well, and I was able to just call things on the fly, and I just felt like that was a point in my early career where I really started to evolve as a wrestler, and all of my hard work, it was starting to pay. I'm starting to see some results here in that sense, and it was very, very memorable for me, and I thank her for allowing me to do that and challenging me in that sense.
That is a huge deal for people that are listening right now that don't really understand how big of a deal that is. You had only been wrestling for a couple months, and someone that has been wrestling longer than you trusted you enough to allow you to call the match. That's a huge deal and a true honor, really.
It really is.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's there. You know, she's there for me if I fail. She's there to pick me up if I fall. But she trusted me and she challenged me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's amazing of her to do that, because that really helps me evolve as a wrestler.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me about how you came up. I know you said the elite athlete, but not just how you came up with the name or anything, but your entrance. You have like this, I don't know if it's like this pink chalk or something that you throw in the air. Like, how did all that come about?
Basically I was just canvassing different ideas with regards to my entrance.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make it as much as me as possible and as sporty as possible. And I mean, chalk is a no-brainer. It comes with working out. It comes with sports. And truthfully, it's quite unique for an entrance, because like, other than the expense of, you know, the smoke machines and all that stuff, when you're just in indie wrestling and you're in small venues, you're not going to really get that.
Right.
And I just kind of wanted to create it myself, and just, you know, like I said, it's a fitness thing, it's a workout thing, and I just wanted to have that pink chalk and just throw it up.
It's really cool, and like you said, it is very unique. You do not see that kind of stuff in indie wrestling, so I've seen it 3 or 4 times now, because again, I watched a couple of your matches, and it's really cool. I really do like it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that I don't know if you ever seen like color runs for cancer,
yes,
where you kind of run, do a 2 or 5K, and you hit these little points during your trail, and someone throws a different color on you. It's just hypoallergenic cornstarch, I believe.
Yeah.
It's just colored cornstarch. So it's hypoallergenic, and it doesn't affect anybody in the audience, which is my main concern. And yeah.
That's cool. So since you've only been wrestling a year, have you wrestled as a heel yet, or only as a babyface?
No, so right before COVID, so I've always been a babyface.
Yeah.
That's my comfort zone. That's who I am. I'm very energetic. I love to bounce around. I love to cheer. I'm happy, right? Like, yeah. I'm in my moment. And right before COVID, the promoter of Bordertown Pro Wrestling in Fort Erie, Ontario, spoke to me and said, I think I'm going to make you a heel. And I'm like, oh God, like this is not who I am. You know, again, this is challenging me, because now I really do have to lead a match.
Right.
And yeah, so I did one match right before COVID as a heel, and I really feel like I bombed it. I failed at it. I was not good at all. But again, this is it's a starting point for me, right?
Right.
I set a bar, and now I got to work on improving myself. So then nothing during COVID. And then last weekend with Destiny Wrestling,
yeah, I
got asked to be part of the women's match against Alexia Nicole.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I'm a heel. Like, so I haven't wrestled since March. You know, I haven't even been in a ring, and here I am doing both, going in a ring and being a heel. So, ultimate challenge.
Trial by fire.
Absolutely. And I got to be with Shiloh, and she's a natural heel.
Yeah.
She's so good at what she does. And I knew with her by my side, I felt a lot more comfortable. She was able to assist me.
Yeah.
And just kind of give me some pointers, as well as Alexia Nicole. I mean, with her experience, they were all able to help me.
That's awesome.
Jody Threat was there as well.
Yeah. I actually watched your match with Jody Threat, and it was very good. Oh,
thank you. Thank you. She really, really challenges me as a wrestler.
I watched another one of her matches, and I can't remember who it was, but it was for someone else that I have interviewed before, and she's very talented. I think I need to get her on here at some point.
She's grinding hard. I mean, she is not only wrestling in Ontario, she is a road warrior, and she's traveling to the States now. She's blending in and to the States indie wrestling scene.
Yeah.
And she's doing shows out there now, and she's getting all that experience. And she brings it back to Ontario, and so then I have a match with her, and she can teach me some things that she's learned and some practices that she's learned from out there. And it's really assisting all of us here in Ontario when we get to and then her, obviously, as a wrestler, she's totally evolved.
Yeah.
and gotten so much better now because of all the experience she's gaining. So good on her. Absolutely. She's grinding hard.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that you prefer babyface so far?
So far, yes.
Okay.
It's a comfort zone thing, right?
You're like, I think, the second person in like 16 or 17 of these that I've done that have said that they prefer babyface. Because almost everyone is like, I want to be the heel. I want to control the match. It's so much easier to get people to hate me. So it's nice and refreshing to hear it come the other way around.
I think another part of that, too, is me wanting to become a pro wrestler as well means I am now going to be... I want to be a role model for all the young girls and boys out there.
Yeah.
And I want them to look up at me as a positive influence. I grew up being bullied, and I grew up not in a really good place, to be honest.
Really?
And I want to be that positive influence and that role model for them that they can look up to, even just for that night, just for those couple of hours being out at the show.
Right.
I just want to put a smile on their face, and I think that if I can do that, I feel so whole, and that's another reason why I just love being a baby face.
That's really cool and really inspiring.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So what's your finisher?
My finisher is the Black Hole Slam.
Oh, that's cool. So,
Yes.
I saw you do that on Shiloh in your match. And I just didn't know if that was your finisher or not, but it did finish that match. It looks awesome. I mean, it's a great move.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very, very powerful move, and it looks great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
And your theme is by Rev Theory, right?
That's right. Hell Yeah by Rev Theory, which, again, blends well into the whole athlete gimmick, because it was the theme song for Blue Mountain State.
The it was! Show. That's right!
Yeah. So the whole football gimmick and everything, right? It all kind of comes together.
That's amazing.
So I actually I emailed Rev Theory, and I spoke to their lead singer, David Goglia.
Yeah.
And I got his permission to use that song, which is really cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So I was watching your videos, and I'm like, that's Rev Theory. That's like a big band. Like, I wonder how she pulled that off. You literally just ask, and that is really cool. That's really cool of them to allow you to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it fits really well with you too.
I'm very thankful.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, and I know that you've done some intergender wrestling, because I actually saw a couple of the matches on YouTube. How do you feel about intergender wrestling right now?
I'm totally good with it. It challenges me. It gives me a different taste of pro wrestling. And obviously, I'm an individual who loves to work out. I love to strength train.
Yeah.
And that really helps me test myself in that sense. A lot of the women that I wrestle are a lot smaller than me.
Yeah. I'm
5'8" and 170 pounds.
Okay.
And so when I get to wrestle against guys, it's different, and I really get to challenge myself. I get to practice different things that maybe I wouldn't be able to do in the ring with women. I mean, because usually, like, I'm a base in the ring for a lot of women because I'm so big.
Right.
I can't do a lot of things where I'm jumping on them and they're holding me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when it comes to guys, I could finally do a lot of cool stuff when they can base for me. They can post for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's cool. How do you feel about, or do you feel like it'll be on national television anytime soon?
Intergender?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No, not the way the world is going right now with society, and just it's obviously hard to articulate, but there's a lot of sensitivity happening right now.
Right.
In different fields, and I think we just all need to take a breather and kind of just reset.
Yeah, I totally get it. I get what you're saying. It's really interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it on TV, honestly, but do I think it's going to happen anytime soon? If that's your question, I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's subjective. That's just my personal opinion.
It's so interesting because I've interviewed different people, and I usually ask ladies this question, and I don't usually ask guys, but some girls are very much for it, and they're like, yes, it's very empowering for women to get in there, and other girls are like, no, I don't want to see a man hit a woman, and I understand. My wife feels that way.
I totally understand as well.
And
I'm very neutral on this, and I see both sides to it. I do.
Yeah, I do too. So it's hard, and I think when it is done, it'll have to be done very well. And I think that they had it on AEW Dark. Kenny Omega and Riho wrestled Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford, and that was a really well done, tasteful match. And I would trust AEW to do it. Whether or not it'll be on national television, though, I don't know. I think we might see it on Dark as a testing ground, maybe in the next couple of years. But we'll see. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Or Tessa Blanchard. I mean, she put on great intergender matches.
Yeah, in Impact, yeah. And she famously wrestled Brian Cage, too, who is a monster. So,
yes.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So let's talk about your dream match. If you could wrestle anyone from any point in wrestling history, I want you to tell me who it would be, and I want you to tell me why.
My dream match would be a triple threat.
Okay.
With... obviously, Lita, because we spoke about the Hardy Boys growing up, and Trish Stratus, because she's the Canadian icon.
She is.
And she's someone from my country. She's someone from my province. She's someone that's only a couple hours away from me, and I think it's amazing that someone so close to me locally can blow up that huge in history. And again, she's somebody I grew up watching, and if I can have a dream match against Trish Stratus and Lita, I would be absolutely fulfilled and over the moon.
Right. Trish is such an interesting and inspirational story because she was just a model. I mean, that's what she was. And she was brought in because she was pretty, and then she decided, you know what? I'm going to do this to the best of my ability, and she became one of, if not the greatest women wrestlers of all time. So her story is awesome. She is so talented, and I'm also a big fan. And Lita, obviously, I mean, she's literally the queen of extreme, right?
Yeah, if I can be half the athlete she is and use that in my wrestling matches, man, I'd stand out like a sore thumb. Because that girl, she's so good. She's so good.
Yeah.
So I when I was living in London, Ontario in January 2019.
Yeah.
While I was, because again, I'm on my work holidays, so I'm only living in this city to go to wrestling class at night.
Right.
So what am I doing? What am I going to do with the rest of my day? Right. So I hit the gym, but I also enrolled in gymnastics because I wanted to do what Lita did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like regularly in gymnastics for that whole month that I was in London.
Wow.
And like obviously I didn't end up doing half the things that she can do, but in gymnastics I was learning, I want to be like Lita, so they taught me how to do some backflips and some back handsprings and this and that. It's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you grew up, because I know that there's a lot of young wrestlers today, and they're like, yeah, I grew up doing this on my trampoline in the backyard. Like, I never got to do that.
Yeah.
But if you can do that, all the power to you. Props to you, because it's really hard learning it now as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I bet. And I saw in a couple of your matches you did, and I don't want to call it the wrong thing, it was like a handspring back elbow?
Yeah, it's I guess it's a round off back elbow.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the only flippy things I can really do at this point safely. Growing up, I used to be in dance. I used to be a dancer.
Okay.
So I did, modern, jazz, tap, ballet. And that's just something I learned as a child, is just doing cartwheels and round-offs. And so I just figured I would implement that in the ring, and
why not?
hopefully that kind of stood out a little bit. And
yeah, looks cool.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome. So do you have, before we close, do you have any cool wrestling stories you'd like to share?
Sure. I have a very unique wrestling story.
Okay.
So you know how I said that I commenced in April 2019 with my very first debut wrestling match
Yes.
in London against Violet Lee with Smash Wrestling.
Uh-huh.
So 2 weeks after that, I got flown out to the WWE Performance Center for tryouts.
Really? In Orlando? It's right up the
Yes.
road.
Yes.
2 weeks after your debut match?
I'm one of thousands of people who just filled out the online application.
Yeah.
And I got selected for that.
That's awesome.
So I got to go out there, and as a brand new wrestler, it was it was still very, very challenging for me to be there.
Yeah.
Because there were things that they asked me to do and perform and execute that I never even got to do yet as a wrestler.
Yeah.
So it's a tryout. So basically, well, you're doing it now, and you're going to try it now, right?
Yeah.
So it was such an amazing experience and such a unique experience. I never ever thought would happen, and I think that's a very memorable part of my journey.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's awesome. That's a cool story.
Yeah. Yeah. What an experience, eh? Just
After
you
2
go
weeks.
from being in a gym working out to, saying, screw it, I'm going to be a wrestler.
Right.
And then that happens, and it's just like, it's amazing. I'm so beyond thankful for everything that's happened.
Yeah.
During this journey.
Absolutely. That is so cool. That's so cool. Well, now that you're actually wrestling again, now that the pandemic is we're hopefully on the other side of it now, or at least we're getting there. Where can we see you wrestle now?
So unfortunately, in the province of Ontario, we have pulled the reins back a little bit on our allowances.
Okay.
With regards to the legalities of for the pandemic and how many people could be outside at one time.
Yeah.
In a gathering. So literally just a couple of days ago, they put more restrictions on.
Oh no.
Because our numbers are actually augmenting.
Oh no.
So yes. So unfortunately, I'm very thankful that Destiny asked me to wrestle last weekend, because I truthfully don't know when it's going to happen again.
Oh no.
Unless the promotion wants to put on a really, really small show outside with a very small audience, and which I hope still happens, because I would be more than happy to get in that ring again.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, I have no upcoming shows because of the pandemic, unfortunately.
Okay. I gotcha. Well, when you do, let me know, and we'll make sure to share it for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Hopefully it'll happen soon. We'll cross our fingers and say a prayer. Well, tell me where we can find you on social media.
So on social media, I'm pretty much everywhere on social media. On Instagram at Nova Wrestler, on Twitter at Nova Wrestler. I've got Snapchat, nova.wrestler, where I post different content there. Try to, mix it up a little bit. I've got a YouTube page, so under your search, just go Nova Pro Wrestler. If you want any merchandise, NovaWrestler.com, or you can attend or go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Nova Wrestler. So I'm all over the place. You can find me if you just do a Google search, for sure.
Okay, that's awesome. And your YouTube channel is actually where I saw most of your matches.
Yeah, so basically I try and record or get recordings of my matches if I can. I mean, obviously there's some promotions that have agreements with networks, and they can't release that, or they can only release it on their own terms and their own channel.
Right.
But the shows that I am allowed to release, it's basically just dumping content off my cell phone and just keeping space on my cell phone, and
Wow.
I didn't know where to put it. That's how it started. It's just I had some training videos from Tyson Duke's Wrestling Factory. If you go to to the very, very bottom of all my videos,
I saw that.
I'm just dumping content. But I think it's really cool because then you're kind of seeing an evolution of my journey.
Yeah.
And you're kind of seeing my progress from when I started training to now, and how I'm evolving as a wrestler. So it's cool. So I'm just keeping up with it and putting down all types of content when I can.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. I look forward to learning more about your journey and hopefully seeing you on my television very soon.
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers and say
fingers
a prayer
crossed.
for you.
Fingers crossed.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it, Nova.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Matt Sin for Wrestle Life Radio. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at WrestleLifeMatt. Follow us all at Wrestle Life Radio on Instagram and Facebook, and Wrestle Life Pod on Twitter. And remember, hashtag support indie wrestling. And we hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day.